Alright guys, seems like we finally got a first glimpse of what kind of cars may be arriving the next update, and today I will be having a quick look at all the confirmed information available so far, as well as I will talk about some features of the upcoming update, as well as, maybe some of their consequences and that stuff, which we can appreciate way more easily than you may think. So with nothing else to add, let's get into it. Okay, so at first we have this, the Formula E Gen 2. Believe it or not, this is a car which was added back in 2019 when only those players who qualified for the final rounds at the Asphalt 9 Gamescom esports competition got the chance to test. Those players weren't allowed to share any stats about the very first version of the car, and after asking a professional player who got the chance to test it, apparently the cars they used were at stock and not gold, so the gold max performance of the Formula E Gen never saw the sunlight. Well, that might be about to change since basically the same car is about to drop in the upcoming update with a top speed of 304 km per hour and an acceleration of 87 points, as Coding himself said in the Asphalt 9 official server. The bad thing, however, is the fact that the Formula E Gen will be a low C-Class car, which will be unlockable through a time-limited event, and probably will be a car hunt as it was the case with cars like the Peugeot SR1 or the Porsche Panamera. So it may be free unless it's a car hunt locked behind the Legends Pass, but it won't be a big deal since it will be just, a low C-Class car. In a nutshell, a collector's item. That's cool since, it's a car with a quite interesting backstory, but I'm sure that many people will be disappointed after seeing how the Formula E Gen is a low C-Class car. So if you want a quite likely new D-Class king, today may be your lucky day because we got new and quite solid evidence proving that more cars will be heading to Asphalt 9 along the new update. In order to see the evidence, you only have to check the latest livestream the Alpine official team made a few days ago. Right at the beginning, you can see a, really cool animation and that stuff until wait!
Whoa. Here I come.
Oh, wait, what's that? Is that an Alpine A110 Pikes Peak? Whoa, this is such a great car. According to its real-life performance, it could be a really good D-Class king in Asphalt 9, right? Well, anyways, I'm just tripping, I was just joking.
I was acting.
Let's continue. Nice animations, definitely. I always like Alpine because... Hey! Wait. Stop that. What's that? Looks like Alpine Le Mans prototype, or if you prefer, the Alpine A424 lowercase etc. Oh god, for a second, that last character brought me back to the German lessons I used to ask them at high schools. But luckily I'm not there anymore. Anyways, let's keep playing the video. Dancer, F1 cars, alright. And again, the Pikes Peak. I mean, that car looks absolutely gorgeous, for real. Oh nice, that's nice, some Asphalt 9 footage at an official Alpine livestream. Well, I guess that at this point you all understand what I'm trying to say, but wait, because there is more. That right there is a Renault 5 modified to look like an Alpine car, because let's remember that Alpine is at the end Renault's sports car division. So that was pretty much the beginning of a longer livestream where Alpine presented their prototype for the 24 hours of Le Mans, as well as their new Formula 1 car for this season, which, let's get real, is quite unlikely to be added to Asphalt 9 since, Asphalt 9 is not the kind of game where you will add a Formula 1 car. It's just, let's say, hard to explain, but feels like the physics do not really match with the concept of Formula 1 cars in general. Well, at the end, that's my perception, but I can guarantee you in a solid 80% that the Alpine 110 Pikes Peak will arrive to Asphalt 9 in the next update, and pretty much the same goes to the Alpine Le Mans prototype. In such an important announcement, you don't just introduce Asphalt 9 footage just because yes. We already got the confirmation that the Formula E Gen is coming, but that car belongs to Porsche, so in an Alpine presentation, it's safe to say that some of the cars related will likely appear within the next update. The Renault 5, however, despite it appears at the introduction as well, I would say is way less likely to appear because if we check the performance of the cars I mentioned before, you can see that the Peak Pikes could fit as a king of the class, the Alpine Le Mans prototype at A-Class with a rank of at least 4,100 or so, maybe over that, you know. The Renault 5, however, will only fit in Asphalt 9 as a D-Class car, maybe around the rank of the Nissan Leaf or the KTM X-Bow. And I can see you coming, guys. I know it's Asphalt 9 and that some cars' performance in-game do not match, even remotely close to their real-life counterparts, but in many cases in the past the performance was somewhat similar, so even though there weren't any confirmation from Gameloft's side regarding the final performance of the cars I mentioned, keep these words, because the Alpine Pikes Peak and the Le Mans prototype will eventually appear on Asphalt 9. The thing is that even if all the three cars that appear at the beginning of Alpine's presentation end up, appearing on the next update patch notes, along with the Formula E-Gen, which was already confirmed by coding, at the end, those are only 4 cars out of the 8 cars that each update brings on average, so we can only keep waiting for more leaks or information drops that the community managers add to the official Asphalt socials. At least we can already have an idea of what may be the next update main topic. Circuit racing, or at least that's what I can think of while looking at the Formula E-Gen and the Alpine cars. Overall looks quite interesting, but I doubt any game-changing car, will appear during the upcoming update, even though it's extremely soon to say anything so far. It's okay, I mean, we don't have to get top-notch cars every single update, but some classes need an update like, D and B class. So talking about something different, Asphalt 9 is getting ready for a future crossplay launch, along with a new way of playing from different devices thanks to a new feature which is currently under development, called the Gameloft ID. So from Gameloft they are starting to prepare the terrain, and sometimes that means making some adjustments in advance, as it was the case when they announced that they would close the game starting from March 6 to any player who plays from Amazon or Facebook Cloud. The problem is that they didn't specify enough, so some players started asking if this would mean that no one will be able to log in Asphalt 9 with Facebook anymore after March 6, and apparently maybe as a result of an error, a community manager said that yes, it will mean that no one will be able to log in with Facebook, but don't get it wrong. Later, a community manager pointed out that apparently everyone will be able to keep using Facebook login to access Asphalt 9 between different devices from the same platform after March 6. It's just that if you by any chance downloaded and started playing Asphalt 9 in your Facebook browser, you won't be able to play there anymore, which is different than if you, for example, install Asphalt 9 from Google Play Store and then connected your progress with Facebook in order to, load your progress in another Android device, for example. You won't be affected if you did so, but you will be affected if you started playing from a specifically designed Facebook browser. In a nutshell, starting from March 6th, you will be able to keep using Facebook to access your Asphalt 9 account in Android, iOS and that stuff, but if you were playing from your Facebook browser, which apparently is a completely different platform like Android, Windows or iOS are, for example, you won't be able to play your game from there anymore. And that's why Gameloft is warning with a full month in advance, so those players who are playing from their Facebook browser or Amazon platform can get a chance to move their accounts to Windows, Android or iOS in case they want to keep playing Asphalt 9. So it's safe to say that as we get closer to the upcoming update, which will likely arrive at the very first days of March, Gameloft wants to make sure that the first phase of the implementation of Gameloft ID goes as smooth as possible, and maybe that's why they are taking this kind of decisions like closing the access to those platforms where the game, is less used, as it's the case with Amazon and the Facebook browser, which, being completely honest, I had no idea that was even possible to play there. And well, that's why I thought that in Gameloft they were talking about removing the Facebook login at first, but luckily that ended up not being the case. At last but not least, we have the chance that Windows players end up receiving the update with massive delays, as it has been the case in the 2 previous updates. As far as I'm aware, such a scenario could take place once again with the upcoming update, since it's a problem not from Gameloft's side, but from Microsoft stores, so they can put the update on hold for as long as they want, apparently due to some problems related to the Xbox points or something like that. I always try to be as realistic as possible, so I would say that the risk of an update delay affecting Windows players this time is of around 60 to 70%, which is not a guarantee that will definitely happen, but based on what we got previously, well, it's kinda likely to take place. Who knows, maybe Microsoft ends up solving that issue and we get the update at the same time as all the other platforms. But well, maybe that's wishing for too much. And that was pretty much everything I wanted to let you guys know about the changes regarding Facebook Cloud, Amazon, and the new cars. Now it's your turn, guys. Share your thoughts about the upcoming changes as well as your predictions regarding the new cars we may get really soon in Asphalt 9. As always, make sure to drop that epic like, and I will see you really soon, as usual, with much more Asphalt content. Goodbye, guys.